Hello students, I am Dr. P.C.Kambodia, Associate Professor in the Department of English, BSR Government Arts College, Alwar, Rajasthan. This video is for the students of B.A. Part 2nd English Literature Paper 2nd. In this video, we discuss 4th chapter, section 3rd of the novel Inside the Haveli, written by Rama Mehta. In the very beginning of this chapter, we are told that Sita is in a depressed mood because she has been discontinued from her school. Then Geeta comes to her and tells her that she would be purchasing a set of earrings which Sita liked in one of the shop of the jewelry market. And then Geeta assures her that when she stays in the Haveli, she would not be given the drudgery work of the Haveli, that is cleaning, sweeping, dusting, cooking, and all that. She will ask the other maid servants to do such works, and she would be given time for her studies. And it will be Geeta who would see to it that her education continues through the classes which Geeta was holding in the Haveli. Then Sita is in a happy mood, and then Geeta leaves her and goes upstairs in her room. Then Dhapu comes and tells her that she is to pay with her mother-in-law a visit to the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji. This disturbs Geeta because she knows that if they go to the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji, then there would be the resuming of the engagement of Veer Singh and her 13 years old girl Vijaybai Saha. So she does not like this news. Then Kavarnisa goes in front of the kitchen. Khyali is already there. Khyali is muttering some words of dissatisfaction, saying that he had seen a ghost or a devil in the early morning, because of which no maid servant is turning up in order to help him, and he has to do a lot of work of cooking. Then Kavarnisa enters the kitchen. Looking at Kavarnisa, Khyali tells her that the uncle of Shivram, the boy who got to be engaged to Sita, came to Khyali and told Khyali that Shivram's grandfather is seriously ill and he wants to see the marriage of Sita and Shivram, and it should happen quite early, and then only 15 days are to be passed, because their Pandit has told them that full moon day would be the auspicious occasion. Having heard this news, Kavarnisa tells Khyali that she got disturbed because she thought that Khyali was giving them the news of breaking off this engagement, as Shivram's parents have withdrawn, as she thought, but now it is quite clear that they want the engagement and the marriage to happen at the same time, so preparations are to be done speedily. Then Khyali says that there is no question of going back from this engagement, because they told them well in advance what was the education of Sita and about her parental background. And now it is the question of not only the servants' quarters, but it was the question of the prestige of the entire Haveli, so they cannot withdraw, and if they withdraw, then Khali is there to beat them blue and to hit their tooth to take it out of their mouth. Then Kavarnisa tells Khali to take care of the arrangements. Parijiji is also there. Parijiji listens to it, and Parijiji tells Khali that sugar is to be purchased, then grains of wheat are to be grinded to have enough of flour, and then vegetable oils are to be purchased, and professional cooks are to be engaged. And then Parijiji asks Khali to do all this, and thereafter Parijiji reminds them of a point that at the time of the marriage ceremony, Gangaram alone cannot sit over there because Lakshmi has deserted Gangaram, and who would occupy the place of mother. So Parijiji comes up with a solution that Dhapu will sit at the time of occasion of the grand marriage, and Dhapu's husband is to be informed, who lives in a village, at least 10 days before. This way Parijiji comes up with her own remindings and suggestions. Then Ganga comes over there, who is a maid servant, and tells the mistress of the Haveli, Kavarnisa, that 2 times there have been reminders from the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji, and they want a visit to be paid by Kavarnisa and Geeta. So Kavarnisa dresses up and prepares for the visit, and Geeta is also informed to wear her jewelry and costly costumes. The both of these ladies are ready, and Parijiji is also ready, and other 2 maid servants are also ready. Hiralal brings the car, and with Hiralal, 2 maid servants, they sit at the front seat of the car, and at the back seat of the car, Parijiji and Geeta with her mother-in-law takes their seats, and then car drives for the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji. Then car passes through narrow streets, and the stinking smell of urine and cow dung also comes, and they avoid that foul smell, and car suddenly stops in front of a big gate, and that is the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji. Maid servants are already there who want to welcome them. They take these prestigious ladies of Jeevan Nivas Haveli and their maid servants, and they are escorted to the personal room of Daulat Singh Ji's wife. Then the maid servants, they leave the room as a signal is there, and thereafter Geeta sits with other ladies. The young mistresses of the Havelis, they touch the feet of the mother-in-laws of each of the Haveli, and thereafter refreshments are served. Sweets are there, and then fruits are there, sharbat is there as a part of hospitality. Geeta, while having the refreshments, looks at the room. The room is pink in color and the curtains are there. Those curtains have been embroidered with the golden wires, and the velvety carpets are also there. Furniture is also costly. It gives an impression of the richness of the Haveli. Then it is the time for their talk to continue. Then Geeta feels afraid because she may be put to a question that what is her suggestion for the engagement of Vijay Bai Saha, who is only 13 years of age, and Vikram, the grandson of Daulat Singh Ji. But to her great surprise, this issue does not come up. Enough of time passes, talks are there regarding the happenings in other Havelis, and when it is time, Kavarnisa wants to take leave of wife of Daulat Singh Ji, and all of them get up, but suddenly wife to Daulat Singh Ji says that they can't go without blessing her grandson Veer Singh. So Veer Singh is called, and he is a young chap, fair complexioned, and he is a decent fellow, tall, commanding a good personality, and he is the only boy over there surrounded with so many ladies. Geeta also looks at this young boy, and then she recollects that the boy is quite handsome and at the same time well looking. Then Bhagwat Singh Ji's wife, that is mother-in-law to Geeta, takes a 5 rupee note out of her blouse and gives as a gift to Veer Singh. Veer Singh touches her feet, and then these ladies, they come close to the car where Hiralal is already waiting. Hiralal starts the car, and car proceeds from the Haveli of Daulat Singh Ji to the Haveli Jeevan Niwas lived by the owner of the house, Bhagwat Singh Ji. Then all of them leave the car and then they enter. Cook is already there. He is passing the instruction to the little children born to the maid servants of the Haveli, telling them that the marriage of Sita is approaching and the work has increased with him of cooking, so he needs the help of all those children, and if the children do not help him, then extra laddus will not be given to those children. Meanwhile, Khyali looks at the ladies coming, and Khyali is startled to note that no lady is talking to each other. All of them, they go to their room in order to change for light kind of dresses. And he is surprised to note that Dhapu, who is talkative, also disappears from over there for her servants' quarters. Khyali knows that whenever these ladies were coming from the other Havelis, they were having a lot of fun and gossip regarding the talks they had, but this time there was no talk. So there was something serious that Khyali could understand very well. Thereafter, Geeta goes to her room and changes her costumes, and then she thinks about Veer Singh, and then she thinks about the time of her own marriage. She recollects that they are so many sisters, and their parents decided a favorable match for them. She didn't know Ajay Singh. It was the company of the elderly persons and her parents that decided Ajay Singh as a match for her. And this time, if the elders of this Haveli are choosing a handsome boy from the other Haveli for her daughter Vijay, then she should give a second thought to it. Then she has another side, that what type of man Veer Singh will turn up in future. Will he be able to maintain progress of his studies to the level best so as to become a professor like Ajay Singh, who is her husband? This is a challenge in front of Veer Singh. Secondly, if she accepts this proposal, then her own daughter would be captivated in the Haveli. She would be a mistress of not only the Haveli, but she would be a mistress within Parda. She would be a mistress of solitude, and her freedom would be curtailed. They believe in the trends and traditions and customs of the Haveli, but what about the freedom of a lady? After all, a lady cannot remain in Parda all the time. And this way, the thoughts of to be or not to be, to say yes or to say no, runs through her mind. This chapter opens yet another issue in front of the reader, that is, Sita is getting married only at the age of 30. That is really against the laws. At that time, that is 1977, such laws were there. Kavarnisa and others should have said no to the marriage of Shivram and Sita, because they should have asked the in-laws of Sita to wait for coming 5-6 years till Sita gets an appropriate age of at least 18 years. But no one talks. Earlier, it was Gita who was tooth and nail against the child marriages, but she had to keep her mouth shut because of the pressure of the servants, and she didn't want to spoil the game of the servants because they were not ready to accept what Gita wanted to explain to them. Then Kavarnisa is also not interested to poke her nose, nor Khyali the cook. Rather, Khyali is interested to have this early marriage because he has his own interest. Because if this marriage happens, then his friend, who is also a servant in the Haveli, and his name is Gangaram, would need money. And if he needs money, then Khyali would provide him the money on loan, and Khyali would take a lot of interest. So Khyali has got his own interest, because of which Khyali is also not following the rules of marriage. Of course, we know that all of them, they know the rules of marriage, but deliberately those rules are being not given proper consideration. This way we come to the end of chapter 4th of the novel Inside the Haveli. We shall be taking our next chapter in our next video class. the students are hereby asked to write a report of the main events of chapter 4th, section 3rd of this novel Inside the Haveli and post it to my email, that is CambodiaPC@gmail.com. Then I would be passing my comments to make them learn more and more. Thank you so much.